Alrighty, we are live. Welcome everyone. My name is Mackenzie. I'm the founder of GradJobs, and today I'm interviewing Denica. Welcome. Denica came to Australia to pursue a career in accounting/finance, a degree at Monash University with honours. And last year, before graduating, she secured a graduate job offer with a company called BDO, a very large advisory firm in Melbourne in the people advisory team. And in this podcast, we're going to be learning about Denica's story, how she landed the job, and all those sorts of things. If you would like to contact her at the end of the interview or the podcast, she's more than happy for you to reach out on LinkedIn. And likewise with myself or my team, feel free to reach out on LinkedIn or mygradjobs.com.au. So welcome, Denica. Thanks for coming.
Hi, everyone. Hi, Mackenzie. Thank you for having me again. I would like to say I'm so happy to be here, and I'm Denica. I'm from Malaysia. I just came to Australia as an international student since last year, and I've been on a really wild job hunting journey, so I can definitely relate to any one of you out there facing the same thing as me.
Awesome. I'm sure they're very lucky to have you. So let's get into it.
Yeah.
What motivated you to come to Australia and pursue your degree at Monash?
Yeah. Well, first thing first, I have a lot of relatives in Australia, in like New South Wales, Perth, and Melbourne as well. So I've made a lot of trips on holidays here since I was young, and I've just loved it because it's like home to me. And why I chose to study here eventually is because of the work-life balance that I've heard about from my friends who are like much older than me, and those actually pursuing accounting career as well. So I just love the work-life balance and the whole like cultural thing here in Australia. So that's why I came here to study and eventually work.
Awesome. And I guess, at some point when you're studying, you realize I have to go and, get this job now. And you start to realize, time's ticking and you've got to get something. So I'm curious, when did that start for you? When did you start thinking about jobs?
Oh, yeah, that's a very good question. So I started thinking about it since, I would say December in 2022. So even before I started my last year of uni, like honors, that's also mainly because I have such amazing group of friends who are also career-minded like me. So thanks to them, we've always talked about, keeping each other in track with all the jobs, opportunities out there, like applying for companies and just helping each other really. So I started really early in December 2022. But since then, it was not a very smooth and easy start, I would say, because I'm an international student. And a lot of my friends are actually local students. So there's some things that I couldn't relate to. So I was quite alone in most of the stage, especially with the recruitment stages. And then I think I would say I applied to about like nearly 50 to 70 applications. Honestly, I've not kept count of it because it's a lot. It's like my daily routine. I wake up in the morning, I just go on LinkedIn, go on different like hiring website and just search for jobs and apply immediately. So I've not really kept track of it, but I know it's way more than 50 applications. And it was really hard, I would say. I didn't get the first job. I didn't get the first interview at it, or even the subsequent ones, I would say. And that's where I really, really struggle a lot. And just like everyone else as an international student, I became lost. And a lot of time, I would say I am mostly stuck at the video interview stages. I'm pretty sure some of you are familiar with the recruitment stage. So you have the application, the psychometric testing, and then the video interview, and then you move on to the assessment center. So I'm always stuck at the video stage interview. Like I always fail to make it through. Yeah, so that was just like my whole struggle, I would say, with my job hunting, even though I started early in December 2022.
So in December 2022, that was your last year was 2023, right? So that was
Yeah.
just before you were coming into your last year.
Yeah.
And so you were going for graduate level positions, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I was looking for a graduate role because a lot of times some of my friends or even some of you may wonder why not I start with the vocational program. I would love to, but sometimes just the timing didn't work because I have to go back to Malaysia for my brother's wedding. So some things, like you gotta sacrifice something, but you gotta work hard after that. When I came back, I immediately got on my job hunting mode, and I know I'm like behind my peers who already went through a vocational program, so their jobs are secure. But for myself, if different, I need to start again and probably on my own. Starting just finding my graduate job when I came back in January to February 2023, which is last year. And yeah, this is just something that I was at that time. When I think about it, I was definitely stressed. I'm not a very good, like, I'm not a very calm person, so I get stressed easily when I get like oh, will things go the way I want it to be? Especially hearing a lot of people say, oh, you gotta start early, but when? So that's the biggest question I've always had, and I do not have anyone to actually tell me or guide me and say these are the problems that you are gonna face, so be ready. Or there's no guidebook when I started my job hunting journey. So I would be more than happy to share with any one of you if you wanna ask about it. But yeah, there's really no like, if you start early you're gonna get a job. It's not really like that. It's all about the effort, the amount of effort you're gonna put in every single day from day one. So how to start out efficiently and effectively is more than like, it's more important than how early you should start. Yeah.
And so what do you think? You mentioned you applied to quite a lot of jobs and you got to the video interview stage and then you weren't making it past that. So what do you think was going wrong there? Like, what was the problem?
Yeah. Well, the biggest issue that I think of now is that I was not familiar with like the interview answer guide. Like I didn't answer using the STAR technique properly. So I wasn't really well prepared on my own because again, I had to do everything on my own. So there was no one to actually tell me like, you gotta use STAR technique to answer. And no one also tell me, and really all of this is like you learn on each interview. For video interview, they can't really see your true personality because it's different when you have face-to-face interview and video interview. So I think one of the most difficult part of it is how to just look at the camera, answer with confidence. And then, I've been very distracted by a lot of things going around behind the monitor. And a lot of times I also do not know what actually like the recruiters are looking for in a video interview, because for me it's quite new. Like I do not know, is there a different requirement for recruiters when they look at video interview and face-to-face interview, and why video interview first? There's probably something behind, why they want to do video interview first before moving you to the next stage, which is the assessment center and face-to-face interview. Yeah, so one thing I realized is about like really understanding each stage of the recruitment process, which I didn't really get the good understanding, which is why I struggled a lot. I just went into it and then failed, and then I didn't know what to do until I actually met. I came across grad jobs on LinkedIn, so that was where it really helped me, put me back on the right track and really helped me understand what video interview is and everything, like just everything.
Got it. Awesome. So you got your job through a job application, right?
Yeah.
And from memory, you didn't really network much, did you?
No. It was just networking in person, which is what everyone says. But
Yeah.
no one, again, told me that it is important to network online as well. So LinkedIn is actually the most, I would say, suitable platform that you should really network online. Just reach out to recruiters or even, fellow graduate students or fellow final year students in the same field as you. Just reach out to them and, be on the journey together rather than being alone. Because some of the information that your peers or anyone knows can be really helpful no matter when or where. So that was one thing I actually learned as well on like why I didn't always make it past the video interview stage, because I did not reach out to anyone, only on LinkedIn. I only waited until like the in-person networking event, which is quite late at the end, because it's just really important to also network online and offline. And just my only advice for this is just do not be afraid to reach out to anyone, even though if you don't know that person. And you do not need to only focus on recruiters. You can also reach out to your students. They're the best. They're the best like peers, or I would say buddy, in your job hunting journey. And it's really good to have someone accompanying you on this journey as well.
Yeah, it's awesome. And it's really good because in a lot of these, it's about 50-50. Like about 50% of people seem to get jobs through applying and 50% seem to get jobs through networking. So, I mean, you hear a lot of noise out there of people saying, you have to do networking, or you have to do this thing. But really, there's so many options, right? And you're proof of that. You can get a good graduate job, dream kind of top company, dream position, just applying online. Of course, it's possible.
Yeah, there's countless of opportunities out there. And honestly, in this generation, we are spoiled for choices. So it is really important for us to know how to use those opportunities and how to reach out to those opportunities effectively and efficiently. And obviously, it is by networking online and offline, learning from people from different diverse backgrounds, and all that. Yes.
What do you think made the team at BDO pick you out of all the other? I'm sure there were probably thousands and thousands of applicants for that role. So what do you think it was?
Yeah, I mean, I've met the fellow like interviewees themselves, and they were amazing. Like they're such fun people to be with. I actually thought that I'll be working with them as well. But that's a very good question, actually. I think I would say it's probably the way I've like practiced my interview skills, like the way I answer. It's quite raw. Like I was being very honest during the interview. I do not tend to like, how some people can just, make yourself look good for the sake of being accepted. I just showed myself, being genuine about yourself, and most importantly, honesty is really a key thing in what interviewers feel. Because one of the feedback I got, actually, I can share them, is that they can tell that I was really nervous, which I thought, oh, so why did you pick me? But at the end, one of the positive feedback was because of how honest and genuine I was during the interview. Like, if I say it's okay to show that you're still learning, and it's okay to tell them that, you have failed and what have you learned from it. Like, do not be afraid to show your weaknesses, because during the job, eventually you are going to show a lot of weaknesses during the job, for example, from the mistakes that you made. So it is very important to be really honest and raw during the interview. And that is probably why I think I got selected. But other than that, the other interviewees were amazing as well. So hope to see them in the near future.
Awesome. Yeah, that's a really common theme I'm seeing as well. It's I guess it's one thing to be really skilled, and it's one thing to kind of fit the values of the company and be a real good person, someone who's honest, who's genuine, you can rely on. It's actually honestly like it's kind of rare these days.
Yeah, it is really rare. And I think I if I remember correctly, during the whole interview, I've always had the values of BDO, the core values of BDO in my brain. So when I answer, I'm just, linking back to the values and making sure, like, can I actually fit into the organization, and can my interviewers feel like I fit into their team or organization. So I feel like also understanding the company's value is really important in the beginning of your application. Then you can sort of like, put yourself in there and imagine yourself in there and, instill the values in your brain, and then, perform it during the interview. That's also one way that you can really show yourself, because otherwise, honestly, anyone can just go in and tell them about yourself, tell them about your skills that you have, but they often forgot to really think about the values throughout the interview. Because I think one of the common interview questions that we all know is interviewers might ask is like, what is the core value that resonates with you the most? And that is probably where most interviews would just think about that question, but they forgot that that question is actually applicable to other interview questions as well. So it is really important to really think about the values and then mention it, show it throughout the whole interview.
Yeah, it's really good advice. And that you hit on another point there, which I think is another really common theme, is people typically do very well when they actually spend a bit of time thinking about the company they're applying to, the position they're applying to, and they're actually really excited by it. It aligns with them and where they're going.
Yeah.
And I think that's what you did, right? Like BDO was kind of like this really dream company. It was a dream position, new team, and a lot of people applying. And I've also reviewed a lot of resumes and applications and things. A lot of those people applying clearly don't really care about the company or the team. They just want a job and they hit apply.
Yeah.
So I think, what you were saying is, it's spot on. It's
good
advice.
Yeah, I think it is really, it's okay. I feel if you feel like, you're that, because I was once desperate for a job. So as a desperate person, you would actually not think so much into the detail of what you actually need. For example, caring about what the interviewers are actually looking for. You just don't want to impress them, but you want to show yourself in a very raw way. And I think I feel like the most important thing is do not show that desperation in you, because it might actually ruin like the honesty and raw side of you because of your desperation. You just try to like impress them. I think that's not what they really, really want to you to show, because anyone can do that. Anyone can impress them with like the skills and job work experiences that you have. So it's important to think about what can make you stand out and what is unique about you. So I feel like, I was just like everyone else. I was really desperate, and I could only think of like, oh, what nice words can I say in my answers that will impress them. But I realized after a few attempts, like after a few interviews, I felt like that was not what the interviewers are looking for.
What is something that you wish you knew about job searching? Well, so let's say job searching, interviewing, whatever, that whole group of things. What do you wish you knew about that at the beginning that you know now?
Yeah, just a lot. But one of the main things I wish I knew earlier was the online networking, and how the people that you ask the question to can be more specific about the answers. Like, for example, not just professional networking or attending events. I wish they could be more specific and actually, share the experiences and say, I have failed in this and blah, blah, blah. And, the pros and cons of both online and offline networking. And most importantly, I felt like I wish online networking was more emphasized when I first started out, because I felt like that really helped a lot in my whole job journey, hunting journey. And secondly, there's a lot of questions that I've always asked people during networking, or even I think yourself. I've asked you a lot as well. What do actually recruiters look for in my answers? Like, how do we know? Because the answers, really interview answers, when you prepare, you don't really know what interviewers like or like to hear or doesn't like to hear. So there's a lot of confusion around there. And for that, no matter how prepared I was before I think I joined the grad jobs, I just couldn't figure it out what's wrong, because I used the STAR technique and it didn't work. So I was wondering what happened. So I wished, I was very happy that I, came across grad jobs pretty early. And if I had not, I wish, someone or probably more platforms could open up for, international students or even local students themselves, about all these tips and tricks and, really helping them one-on-one, rather than, in universities, they do provide these services, but it is in groups. And for them, because they have to do it many times over just so many students. So I felt like it wasn't very, very, very focused, and it wasn't a one-on-one thing with the student itself. So I wish there were more platforms available when I had first started out to help me. Yeah.
That was a really interesting point as well you made. So it's kind of hard, even if you try really hard, you can't really know the answer for some things, and just until you talk to someone who knows the answer. Otherwise, it just is very, very difficult, right? And I think kind of like what you were saying, it's hard to know what the interviewer wants unless you talk to someone who knows what the interviewer wants.
And also, even for myself to even come, to have met you, I have met many people before you, and I still haven't, gotten the answer. So it's also another difficulty for me or anyone else to really find the right person to talk to for this advice and tips and tricks. So it really is, I guess, so that's why my advice is really just network with a lot of people, because you never know that one out of 100 people that you talk to might actually help you. And I would just, that's a lot of struggle that I face. Mainly it's about, it's like a mind game, guessing game, what's wrong? What do they look for? And what happened with my answers? I followed this, I've listened to this person's advice. So what went wrong? So it's really, there's no right or wrong answer. I feel it's just a lot of effort that you have to put in this whole journey. And then, I think you learn as you go. You learn in every interview stages, you learn as you fail, and it's okay to fail sometimes, I feel. But as long as you work hard to search for that solution for your failure, then I feel it is normal, and I've been through that many times.
Awesome. What do you think? So in the new role that you're going to be starting in about a month or so, what do you think you'll be doing? What's the purpose of the team?
I think I'll be doing a lot of employment tech. So I'm my people advisory team in BDO Melbourne are also known as expatriate and employment tech team. I've heard that for now the team has been split into 2 sub teams. So I believe that I'll be placed in employment tech, which is a more common one that graduates will start out at first. So I'll be dealing with a lot of payroll compliance, employment tax assistance, including like fringe benefit tax, and a bit of consulting work as well. So because this is the advisory team. So yeah, I've been dealing with a lot of these roles and tasks.
Awesome. Why? Maybe I won't ask you that. But how did you come to know about BDO?
Yeah, I've known BDO since I first started out like studying, because I've looked for like the big accounting firms, the top 10 accounting firms, and BDO is obviously one of them, number 5. So I've always wanted to apply to BDO no matter what. And if I were to answer more specifically on why people advisory team, I would say that it's mainly because of like the work culture. BDO itself, I was attracted to it because of the core values. It's a lot about people, a lot about community work, and it is what I was interested in since I was in uni and even since before in high school. And people advisory team, because I've talked to a lot of people during networking events, so I've heard a bit about employment tax and all that, but it is also thanks to my work experience. I've worked part-time in like a tax accounting firm when I was a student. So I was given a bit of exposure to tax, and I was also given a bit of exposure to consulting when I joined like a Monash Uni Student Consulting Club. So I really like the consulting aspect of the job. Like I like consulting service line, and I also want to do a bit of compliance work. And I felt tax I'm quite interested into tax and whatnot, like employment tax is so relatable to every one of us. And it's also, I felt like it's something that I was interested in. So that's why when I came across people advisory team, and also I came across this people advisory team application through LinkedIn. So be active on LinkedIn and you may find that perfect job for you. So when I came across people advisory team, I felt like it was a very good mixture of what I wanted to do, a bit of compliance work and a bit of consulting work. That's why I applied to this team and also the firm itself.
Awesome. And for people, because most people watching this, they won't be in our program. They'll just, they'll be, LinkedIn audience or YouTube audience. But for the people who are in the program or who join the program, I'm really curious, what would you recommend to them in order to make the most out of the program? What should their mindset be like?
I would say, I think, so from my experience, because I was really tight with my time, and I actually got to know the program from grad job really late. So for me, it was very rushed. So obviously I did not have time to complete all the modules that, is available out there. So if you are like me, and you, for example, you only have like a month or 2 months, you're pretty tight on your time to get a job. If you're like me, I recommend finding out the problem. So identifying the problem, which stage of the recruitment process do you not succeed in, or you don't feel confident in, or can have 1 or 2, but it is important to identify the problem yourself. So for example, myself, I've always not succeed in the video interview stage. So when I reached out to McKinsey and also Anchovy who interviewed me, I told them immediately, like, video interview stage, I've always struggled and I'm lacking confidence in that now. So from there, you have helped me a lot from there. And I think that is really important if you're like me, like, being stuck. But if you're not like me, you started out earlier, I recommend just completing all the modules from the start, because it is important to know each stage of the application really well and learn all the tips and tricks. So a lot of effort needs to be put in there if you want to make good use of the program, and also actually just to help yourself a lot. And eventually, you never know, you can help others as well. So that's just my advice. Yeah.
Awesome. What else was I going to say? Did we meet Ishita as well? I can't remember.
Sorry?
Ishita? Did you connect with Ishita from?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Ishita, yeah.
Okay, awesome. Cool.
Oh yeah. Speaking of Ishita, she was really, really helpful. I think she played a lot of the biggest part in my whole like interview preparation for BDO. She actually went through like an actual video, like an interview round with me, practiced a lot, and then taught me how should I answer and what BDO would want to hear. Or I think she was the one who also had interview with people advisory team in BDO herself. So I think I was really lucky that Mackenzie introduced like the right person at the right time. I remember it was really rushed because I'm gonna have the interview like 1 or 2 weeks later. So I was really happy that I got to meet her and practice the interview with her, and she gave me a lot of good tips and tricks. And it is also it was amazing. I want to thank her a lot for that. Yeah, and you as well, Mackenzie, for introducing her. Yeah.
Awesome. I'm glad that was helpful. Yeah, it seems that what you really valued from the program was kind of getting help with the specific problem you were facing. Kind of like that was kind of like what you would call in operations like a bottleneck, right? It's like the thing stopping the process flow.
Yeah.
Or the limiting factor, getting help with that. And then also with the resources on that specific problem, and then also one-on-one support with that specific problem to just solve it as quickly as possible. Is that right?
Yeah, that is spot on. Yeah.
Cool. That's really nice.
Yeah, I think for myself, the biggest concern I had before even joining the program was because I was really tight in my time. Like I think I reached out to you only in April, and I think I got the interview in May, so I actually only had a month, and I also have a lot of like uni work and stuff going on in between. So I remember I was really like panicking and stressing out about, do I have enough time to actually prepare for the interview if I have it, because I never know, like you never know when you're gonna get the interview and stuff. So and then I was just really thankful, like you have helped me a lot with the limited time you had, and also Ishita for like spending her time with me, although I'm not sure if you could tell at that time, but I was really quite stressed. Like I was like, will I be able to prepare in time for the interview for the assessment center? So yeah, I think finding out the problem yourself is really important. That's when you know what kind of help you need. If you're not sure, you probably wonder like, how can I find out the problem yourself? It's good to ask, or even like reach out to the recruiters and just email them, or message them on LinkedIn and ask, is there anything else I can improve in the future, and stuff like that. I feel like that's really important.
Awesome. I think that's a lot of good stuff there. The last question I have for you is, do you have any tips or words of wisdom for people watching that you just want to finish off with?
Well, I'm just gonna give tips. Well, I think first of all, it's important to not give up, even though you know that you're international students and you are clearly at a disadvantage, but always tell yourself you're not, because now a lot of recruiters out there, they don't really, they're not biased anymore towards local students. And it's just a matter of really showing yourself, your honest side, your true self during the interview. And it is also, so first, never give up. And second, I would say always reach out and ask. It is okay to ask a lot of questions regardless of who, It can be your teacher, it can be the students, your friends, it could be anyone on LinkedIn that you find, because that you can relate to, or you're on the similar page or whatever. Reach out to them or email to them, ask them questions, even though they don't reply, because a lot of the time some recruiters, they can be really busy, they have like thousands of messages to reply. Even though they don't reply, it's okay, you can follow up. And even though they don't reply to that message, it's okay, just move on. Because that shows a lot, that is a lot of effort that you need to put in. Like, be ready to put in a lot of effort, because actually international students, yes, you are in a foreign land, so a lot of the things that local students have, you might not have. So it's okay, just go ahead, push it through. And if and it's also important to have a support group. That's what I feel. I feel like you're not alone in this journey, and don't close yourself off to anyone. Just like, be ready to open if you are struggling. Just let them know that you're struggling, because this way people will want to help you. If you don't ask, you don't speak, people don't know, and then you often just get stressed, and then you eventually, you say you're struggling, but you have not asked for help. So I feel like a lot of it is about yourself. A lot of effort is from you, and yeah, just never give up, I feel. And don't forget to just network online. That is really important. Just yeah, that was like my daily routine. I woke up in the morning, I just like open my LinkedIn, and then I start like just scrolling through and see, what other fellow graduates have shared, and learn from them. Or if you want to ask questions, I just message them on LinkedIn and ask further questions or tips and tricks that I can learn. Yeah, and that's really important.
Awesome. Well, I'll leave it there. Thank you so much for taking the time, Danica. I really appreciate it. And thank you for being a really good client.
No worries. Thank you for having me, though. I hope it helped.
Definitely. People will love it. I can't wait to publish it. All right. I'll finish it up. Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Danica. Bye.
All right. Thanks. Bye.